able to be shared from our page too.
No, like, what were you saying, Kat? Just got caught saying that on the live. What were you saying? Say it again.
Nothing. I was going to share out the link on our page. So.
Share away, Doc. Share away. Good evening, folks.
It's a private group.
You can't share it. Good evening, folks. Welcome. Hope you're all doing well this fine
Wednesday
evening. So tonight we have Sarah, Laura, as per, and we have all the way from sunny Iowa. We go to right, don't we? In America. Just Paranormal Exposures. Kat and William Armstrong. Now, William is a fellow Pollock boy, as I put in the post earlier on. William kind of lived about maybe a street or so away from me. So tonight, you've got two Pollock boys on the panel. So if you can't understand this, then sorry.
We'll try some other method of communication.
Aye, kind of like that. You could do that. So how are we, folks?
We're good.
Doing good. We spent the morning at the caves over in Makokata.
I was looking at your post earlier on the photographs and I was trying to pronounce that word. How do you spell it? How do you spell it? How do you pronounce it?
Makokata.
Makokata.
Maquoketa.
I'll just say caves. How's that?
Aye, caves.
Yeah.
Caves will work better. So he's been quite busy.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. We did a whole bunch of investigations in April and May. We kind of took June off. We've been doing a lot of family things this month, but fitting some stuff in here and there. And then we're getting ready to do another investigation second weekend of July on the 8th. We're going to an old hospital, which should be fun.
See, we don't have that. I've said that a few times. We don't have them. We'll go old hospitals. You know, you can't get into them legally. You know, you need to sort of find a slight gap in the fence or something like that, if you know what I'm saying.
And the ones that you can get into are filled with TB and all that. Well, they're all TB hospitals and stuff.
Aye, they're still riddled with asbestos. So, not the best place to come if you want an abandoned hospital. Go to America, because they're in Scotland.
Except here, you pay money to go to them. So we have it's privately owned, and you have to pay to go.
So what's the kind of cost? I was talking to came into with somebody about the cost of investigations and that. Who was it? Oh, it was Lanarkshire Paranormal, and so the prices are here. You know, especially since after the pandemic. What's the prices like? Your neck of the woods?
It's on the place. So like the one that I do the tours and stuff at Edinburgh Manor, it is $250 a night for 5 people, so $50 a person. If you have more than 5, it's an extra $50 per person. So you're paying a minimum of $250 to go. And that's actually one of the lower priced ones. Some of them are $400 a night and higher. And then when you get into the popular places like, you know, Missouri State Penitentiary or Waverly Hills or some of those other big hospitals and things, you're paying $700-800, sometimes $1,000 to go, which is a lot for a night, which is why we haven't done a lot of the big ones.
Well, nice. $1,000 here is what, about £800 or something?
Other way, it's probably closer to £1,400. No, yeah, £800. We're the other way. I'm sorry, our dollars are cheaper. I'm like, no.
That's
yeah, right. About 800. Don't make me do the thinking. Make him do the thinking.
You're just kind of sat there in the corner, aren't you?
I know it's not new.
I feel
the gear in, that's what I'm carrying the gear.
I feel you get bullied a lot. I don't know what it is. I just get this feeling, this sensation of going pick that up for me, boy.
I'm just a pack horse, you know.
Liar.
I take the gear in, I get told take gear A to point B, and that's what I do. I just run back and forth, you know.
Sounds a bit like you.
It sounds a bit like me, even though they call me the gaffer. I just kind of follow on. Do you know what I mean?
Like, here's 2 a.m. pumps. Can you go play same upstairs? Here's 2 a.m. pumps. Can you go play same in the basement? That kind of thing, you know.
Aye. Who are you going to call me?
Gopher. Not gaffer, it's gopher.
No, you can be called the gaffer for that.
That suits me fine.
I get this cheek every single day. Every single day. It's ongoing and monotonous. You know what I mean?
Same with the team as well. They all think they can be funny, you know.
So we have a chat that's private for just the team members, and he goes in there and throws memes out all the time and makes fun of all of us. And
It's deserved, though. It's deserved.
so he gets his payback.
So, obviously, William, you're from the best part of Scotland, basically. The green belt of Glasgow. You know, the posh bit.
Aye.
Well,
All the Farquhars and Finleys live.
exactly. And the Hamishes and Nathaniels. No offence to anybody's got that name, but you know. You've been out there for what, 10, 12 years or something?
No, this will be this December.
No.
December 21st will be 9 years.
All right, I'll go that round then.
It just feels like eternity, though.
Well, that's what he tells me, Kat. You know what? Save me. I want to come home. I miss my Greg sausage rolls.
Sorry.
It's okay.
He's always saying Kat tries to make them, but they're just not the same as home.
I'm a room temperature tennis lager.
Aye, rock solid with a bottle of cold water. As everybody in your team get used to your accent, do they understand you?
I say about 9%. Aye, they're getting you. They're used to me now, so there is the odd thing that I'll throw it, and they'll be like, "What?" You know, the song set me. We're like, and I'll repeat it again, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I just didn't hear you the first time." Like, you're just talking shite. You heard me the first time. You were just trying to be nice and be like, "I didn't understand what you said."
Kat done that to me when you were over here. And
Because you pulling your chain.
I did fall for a couple of times. The Kat Will were over here last year, folks, through April time, and they begged and begged and begged to meet up with us.
Yep.
So, you know, we gave them half an hour and we did meet up with them.
I mean, I did. I sent a video out to Scott, like begging on my knees, you know. But
I heard about that video.
It was Mankini on. It was not. I didn't know Mankini's that small, because William's only about 4'2". Really? He's tiny.
You know they say about small guys.
I mean, we met him at Tesco car park in Kilmarnock, and you know, he was behind a car and I couldn't see him. But where is he? You just see yourself, Kat.
Right?
He came out. So I didn't know they made Mankinis that kind of size. No,
I didn't lie. I mean, I wasn't lying, you know. I was like, what you get?
It was the red wellies that threw me off.
I was thinking myself of the cartoon. You remember Williams Watch Wellingtons, the cartoon, remember?
Aye.
That's what that was my idea at the time I was thinking of.
It was the red wellies kind of clashed. I wear my black wellies when I'm with my Mankini on.
Oof.
Poor Laura.
What was that?
Just sitting in the back going, no.
But no, can we get serious now, folks, please? This is a serious channel. Come on.
Is that?
Come on. Shh. Aye, it is very serious.
Aye, okay.
I've been right off what I was going to say.
What, you leave? You do a live with me and you forget what you're saying.
This happens. See, when I'm on myself, it just runs smooth. Just keeps going. When these two are beside me, it goes, what's the up? You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Kat. What's the up? Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, was that Scottish?
I would say we need to get subtitles, but the subtitles just keep saying Chinese token. You want Chinese token, so.
We did try subtitles once, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and we were talking, and it was coming up, do you want Chinese tokens? So
That's bad. Speaking of subtitles, it doesn't matter where you're from. A friend of ours from Wisconsin, he gets in trouble with subtitles as well. He was talking about Tesla coils, and it changed it into an inappropriate man part on the subtitles. I'm of course watching the show. I think it's hilarious, so I throw comments out about, "Wow, really, Darren? You're talking about that?" Because I'm just reading along.
I love the way you put that about an inappropriate man part.
No, I didn't need to say the word. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you mean. Toes. Aye, toes.
Tesla coils.
Aye. I know exactly what you mean.
There's Scottish and there's Glasgow.
Glaswegian.
That's true.
There is Kate. That's Kate Fraser. She's from. I was going to say your neck of the woods. She's from Chicago, which is up that way to you because you're right next to Oregano.
Yep. Been to Chicago many times. That's where I used to pick him up at the airport. So every time he came through from Scotland, Chicago is where he flew to.
O'Hare Airport.
And then he came over once, and then you kept him.
Send help.
Send help.
Blink if you need help.
I was just going to say that.
Take a hand gesture.
I need help. Help me.
I was just going to say, rub your nose if you're in distress.
You see that in TikTok videos, didn't you?
What?
Folks say if you need help, like wear red or something.
And you're away in the cupboard for that. I can't find anything right. So Kate's from Chicago. No, she's right. There's Scottish and then Glaswegian. Even though Glaswegians are Scottish, they're kind of separate.
Like Rainy Little World, Rainy Little separate entity,
So the I'm in comment is Nico.
Oh.
Hi, Nico.
Hi, Nico. But as soon as you say, somebody else say, wait for you say for Glasgow, okay, all right, they think you're a hitman or something. They automatically assume that you're a thug, and you've got a machete down the leg of your jeans or something.
Because 90% of you have.
Not anymore.
The Midwest is a great place. It's a great place in the country. You get some of the best scenes out here as well. Some of the countryside and all that is great to just take a drive, and as opposed to being on the East Coast or the West Coast, and the offense to anybody that lives in the East or West Coast, but the Midwest is where it is. And it has some of the most haunted locations in the Midwest, so you can't go wrong there.
So where's the Midwest? And don't say Midwest. It's Midwest.
In the middle.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
But that's no East or West. Why is it called Miss West?
So when America was settled, it was settled on the East Coast. And so what would have been the early West was actually like Missouri and Iowa and Kansas and Oklahoma. And then they went further west all the way over to the coast of California. So we're west of the East Coast. So we're the Midwest, not the West Coast.
Oh, I get you. Midway.
Catch on.
The penny has dropped.
That was quite quick for you.
I know it's usually like 3 weeks. And then the penny will...
We'll come back to this next month, Scott.
And usually when we come off the live, he'll say, that's what he meant.
But you have a daily lives and, your guests, all due respect to them, they'll say something and you don't have a clue what they're talking about. And so rather than say to them, what? As you do in Glasgow, what? You turn around and you nod politely, See,
that's how people talk to William. So my dad still doesn't understand when he speaks. So
Facebook user.
My dad just sits there and goes, and then looks at me for help because he doesn't know what thing that's coming out of his mouth.
I encountered a lovely lady in London that had the exact same problem with me. I'm a friend's girlfriend. She was at, yes. She'd never understood for about a day and a half. This went on, and we finally found out that she did not understand a word I said. since I arrived. She's like, I thought, she's a very able person, you know, but she did not have a clue. I mean, with places in Scotland, no doubt it's the same in America. There's places in Scotland you go, and you can't understand the word they're saying, even though we're Scottish.
Right.
Aye, up north, Dundee, you know that.
Aye, you know, whereas I think Glaswegians have a language of their own.
Yes.
But the accent changes though so dramatically. Well, look at us. I'm for like 20 minutes for where you were originally from. My accent's completely different for yours.
I know it's the same as you go from Glasgow to Edinburgh. I had to have fun with it, just saying anything and watch them agree. It was after I found out about it, it was quite funny. But
That's Nico again.
Oh,
The other one is Dennis. I'm sitting with him on my phone so I can see who everybody is. So Dennis and Nico were watching.
hi, Dennis and Nico buddies. But when you're sitting and talk to somebody and they constantly agree with you, you know, you think this person is either thick or I'm just super intelligent and they understand everything.
it's not the latter, trust me.
Oh, I thought it was. Sorry, that's what I understood.
Aye. Well, when these two were over here last year, no, these two, they two, they're always here.
We never left.
They've never left.
They're always
I
here.
can't get, you know, DHL to pick them up.
I would take both of them. I think they're fabulous.
Oh,
Pack your bag, Laura, we're off then.
I'll FedEx them to you if you want.
Sounds perfect.
UPS is better.
You can keep the child.
bye.
That's fine. Or DHL, DPD, I'll send them out to you. You'll see them in a month. That's the other thing. It takes ages to post something. We sent Jennifer t-shirts. This is one thing I never understood. No, but we're actually maybe talking paranormal.
Slow down, please. Kat can't understand.
Sorry, Kat.
Oh, I can. The people listening might not be able to.
I
I'm
can
used to this.
when I sit next to him.
I think Americans now love Scottish accent because of the show Outlander.
Yeah.
I thought they loved their accents because of Rabsy Nisbet and Still Game and all that, you know, in Scottish and Roy.
Aye, I better watching that. That is true. Rab Nesbitt and Still Game.
Nico's trained for sausage rolls. I agree, Nico.
Any day of the week, Nico. You cannot beat a Greg sausage roll. I'm telling you.
You can't beat somebody with the heat because that's so cold.
Aye, yeah, you can. You know, but I was brought up in Greg sausage steak bakes or beefy bakes, should we say?
Such a paranormal show today. I love it.
Go back in a minute.
They're going to go ship themselves without you. You don't even have to pay to ship them. They're just heading out on their own.
There's drama happening outside.
I think it was the sausage rolls comment.
See you guys in 10 hours, 10 days, 10 months, not sure.
No, where we are, we're right on a main road. We're not a main road, a street. Obviously, we live in a street, you know what I mean? But right across the road, there's a house, right? And it's an elderly gentleman lives there. The guy's fantastic, brand new. I talk to him all the time. But he's got a son, right, who's not too savoury, if you get what I mean. And they're always arguing. So Sarah and Laura just heard the shouting and they're away to see what the argument's about. Do you know what I mean? So rather than do the show, they're hiding behind a curtain looking out in the street. That's
Kate is here with the real paranormal questions. That's all I have to say.
Fish
Where-
and chips style, would that be?
I don't know that you're going to get that in the Midwest.
I mean, Long John Silver's, but
That's not decent.
No.
She said decent.
well, I mean, it's the closest thing I can think of.
Yeah, I don't know that you're going to get that. You might find some places. Gosh.
No,
If you're not finding them in Chicago, I don't know, because that's a big city, and big city usually has more diverse food options.
unless you can find an authentic, like, Scottish pub somewhere in Chicago. I think there's like 2 Scottish pubs in Chicago, so you might be able to try one of them. They might have like traditional fish and chips.
or
Yeah, you're going to have to go back to Scotland for those, Kate.
deep fried Mars bar.
It's not that they don't have that here.
You don't. Have you not even tried it? Have you tried deep frying the Mars bar?
Make the batter and just fry it. You know, it's not the same as like a chippy deep fried Mars bar, but it would be the closest thing you could do.
It's not the same as the Blue Lagoon on Buchanan Street. Let's say. Put it that way.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's Dean William a wee taste of home. You say Blue Lagoon, Buchanan Street.
Wee sausage supper.
A wee sausage supper. We salt and vinegar on there, and a can of.
Is that 2 pickles, please?
Oh no, you've just ruined it there.
No, I love a chippy pickle. I've got pickles in the cupboard actually.
A chippy pickle. You get a chippy pickle, there you get a pickle. No, they're disgusting. And the same as the eggs, the boiled eggs.
Eggs.
Um,
I'm not the egg things. I'm not a fan of big pickles. No, you get another one there or not?
They can't see this one. There's another one right here.
so tonight's show is meant to be paranormal,
Never is.
Yes.
but we've not actually talked. I don't think we've mentioned paranormal yet, apart from the.
I tried once.
You tried, but you kind of get sidetracked. Where's Laura?
Oh, she's been Isa's witness.
Laura's doing Isa.
Everybody, they have to know.
I'm Isa. She's just telling me what's happening.
For those who don't know who Isa is, there's a programme in Scotland, a comedy programme called Still Game. It's about pensioners that live on, it's a made-up estate in Glasgow, and it's absolutely fantastic. There's a woman in it, an elderly woman, and she's called Isa, and she has to know every single bit of gossip that's going on, a bit like Kat.
I never said it. What are you looking at me for?
I'm not like that.
I mean, no, you slag me, so I can slag you.
I thought you were talking about that cat.
No, not that cat. You cat.
Kate wants to know the names of my cats. This one is Baby Kitty. This one is Baby Kitty. And the gray one that I put back down on the floor is Vincent Price.
Thank you, Eric Cat. I'll keep looking. Right, I think I put that one up already.
Yeah.
Laura!
Aye, so we call Sarah and Laura Isa because they always have to know everything that's happening, that's going on in the street.
If I see a siren outside, I tell him to get in his wee mower and go find out what's happening.
Sorry, Kat. If Sarah hears a siren in the street, she tells me to get in the car and go and find out what's happening. You need to remember, Kat's no Scottish. Do you mean understand that?
She can understand me a dime sight better than she can you.
A dime sight? When did you ever say that? A dime sight?
That's the actor.
I understand both of you. You guys are just fine. You worry too much. Remember, I live with one.
Oh, I don't worry. Likes to. What's the point of worry? I don't worry. What's the point of worry? Is Laura out in the street or something to sit beside them?
I think yes. I think she's in the car joining.
She's holding hands with them. They're cuddling. It's all good. It's all good.
She's in the car fighting with them.
She's not actually outside, is she?
I don't know. She's in the living room. But there's a car out there fighting with him across the road, your pal. It's all kicking off.
Right, good, great.
Excitement. The excitement, man.
See? No,
I'm sorry that we timed the live to coincide with your drama.
No, I think it's funny. I think it's entertainment. We'll go back and remember this one forever. I mean, you know.
So, because I'm missing what's happening outside.
You should just take the computer with you. Let's go. No.
Take the phone behind the curtain, I mean. Always happy.
You can do the live and ask questions while we're watching these people scrap.
It's the key when somebody says, "Oh, you want to see what happened earlier on?" You know, I said, "Well, what happened? A fight," and that's all the details you get. You don't get to get. Did anybody lose an appendage or anything? You know, just a fight. Say, right?
That's all that you need to know.
Hooligans.
That's it.
They say, who was it between two people? Say, right? But you know.
Yeah, two guys.
And you say, details, give me details. Who lost, you know, who died, who gets stabbed or machete.
If they died, then it might be a new haunting.
It'd be on Facebook. You know, so I usually have to check Facebook. I think Laura's away.
She's making toast.
That's all right. Totally all right.
Say that again.
She's making toast.
Anyway.
The Wayne wanted
Right,
toast.
I'm going to shut that door, please, dear. Laura's making toast.
Rang with a slice of toast, right?
It's for the small child. It's not for her.
I thought she was making toast
No, she's
for herself
making it for the Wayne.
during the live. I'm going to make a bit of toast. I'll be back in a minute.
No, she was checking out the drama and then the Wayne wanted toast.
Right, so you'll hear the Hoover going next. Oh, sorry, Kat, the vacuum.
I know what a Hoover is.
That's fine. That you've taught her well. You've taught her well. She's back. Isa's back with her toast. No.
Okay, tell it Lasha.
Right. Can we carry on now, please? This is a bit of a mess, isn't it?
I'm amused.
Just look too funny.
I do apologise for the show tonight. You know, there's drama outside. Laura had to make toast. You know, what else can happen?
Who knows?
Paranormal.
Paranormal toast.
Actually, it could have been. Well, I was going to talk to you about Loudon. No, we've been doing a lot at Loudon.
Yes.
Also, we've been posting it on the page, and people, whoever's reading it, they just take our word for it or going by what we say, you know. But it's good to have some backup that people can validate what you're saying. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
This lovely couple, I keep pointing at you. They were there.
We're not a
Laura,
couple.
Laura and Trevor are lovely, and they are lovely.
We're lovely, but we're
No,
not a couple.
no.
We're lovely. Is that what you said there?
Lovely.
You see what she says? We're lovely. Kat, you've Americanized them.
That's fine.
We're just practicing for when we go over.
I've got a big box ready. I'm phoning DPD in the morning.
Great.
Come and get them.
Brilliant.
No,
I would love it. I'm not actually working right now, so I would be around and we could run all over the place.
I would love it as well. Trust me, it'd be great.
Right, Rob,
You know, obviously I'd still be in Scotland.
No, you're coming too.
Don't you ever threaten me with a good time. Don't ever.
Massey!
Anyway, can we get back to baby? A wee bit of paranormal.
Loud and Kirk.
Is that all right?
That's where we're at, Loud and Kirk.
Loud and Kirk. Now, I must tell you, before I ask your opinion, we've been going there for about 2 years. But last week, we went and we were lucky enough to meet up with the friends of Loudon. The ladies were there, and they let us into the crypt.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so we sort of got to say, we took photos, we did put them up on the page. But I don't know how many times we've been there, we've lost count. But I've always wondered what's in there, blah, blah, blah. And so the lady says, the door's open if he's wanting to go and have a wee peek, wee look. So we did, and it was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. It's the burial plot of the Campbell family, and the crypt dates back to 1622. But I'll tell you what was weird. You're in it, you got an altar and stuff, but on the floor you've got the slabs with the rings on it, the original iron rings that they used to, pull the slab up when they were interring somebody there. And it's got the name of the person engraved on the slab. Now, a lot of people might not think it's exciting, but
I think that's amazing.
And you're looking at the slab with the original rings and stuff, and you think, this is hundreds of years old, and you think of who's underneath it. But we found it quite fascinating, didn't we?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Is that it?
That was, it's good. It was beautiful. It was nice.
Very nice.
It was nice to be there.
Peaceful, quiet.
But Laura says she heard a voice
That's-
in the back here.
When I was walking around, I was myself. Was she? No, I wasn't. Sarah was with me. And as we passed a certain grave,
I wasn't with you. It was Lou.
was it Lou? Well, once was with me, right? And as we passed a certain grave, I heard I'm here. Clear as a a bell, like a male voice, just saying, "I'm here," and I've never heard anything like that out loud. And so that was a first.
That's amazing.
I actually doubled back because I thought maybe it was Scott, maybe it was Craig. Nobody there. It was just me and Blue. It's very strange.
But obviously, we were over last year, but that's where we took you to investigate. What did you think of the cut?
Very cold.
Not you. I talked to Will and Kat.
They thought it was very cold.
So it's interesting because that's the first time I'd been there. Obviously, the first time we'd been there, and it's the first time for me. Now, also, when you told me how old it was, you know what year they think it is, and then it's possibly could even go further back. You know, that is a lot of history in there. That's a lot of people in there. You know, if it is as early as 1100 or was it 1200, something like that, it's a lot of energy in there, right? It's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing to think that what you still get in there, you know, like you guys are there quite a lot. Do you ever pick up the same people, or do you find it's constantly changing? It's constantly different, you know?
We've been quite, it's going to sound like bragging or boasting about it. It's not meant to be, but we've managed to identify 4 spirits that are there constantly. The cat, you were sitting with that headstone you pick up in a little girl. It was pulling your hair or tapping your shoulder, something like that. We've managed to identify that little girl's called Lisa.
So, okay.
Father's with her. He's called James. Now we picked all this up in EVPs and the blind spirit boxes, and we've had it all validated. Now remember the down the back of the card where we all felt we were getting pulled from one direction to another. Well, we've managed to identify who that is. It's a James Dempster. If you remember the fenced off burial plot.
Right, I remember you were in there.
That's the Dempster family burial plot. James Dempster was a prominent farmer in the 1800s in that area. And his wife Christina, who we also picked up on. The name Christina, we did an investigation with Spike one night, and it came through the necrophonic, clear as a bell, Christina. Christina was his wife. They were originally from Dumfries, but they moved up here. And James died in 1890. Christina passed away in 1892. So we know it's him. He's been, Laura's seen him in Rigger, for Spikes saw him as well. And we've had several EVPs telling us that, you know, his name's James and what have you. But he likes to be called Mr. Dempster. He doesn't like to be called James. He likes a kind of formal title. But we kind of hit the jackpot because we found out where the old Dempster mansion used to be. It's about quarter of a mile, something like that, away from the Kirk. So we went up. The mansion's no longer there. What happened with the mansion? It was, falling apart, and the kitchen was falling into the basement. So they just totally flattened it. They demolished the kitchen, put it in the basement basically, and covered it up. There's now a house sits on top of that private house, but the original Dempster cottages are still there. There's 3 cottages, and they were kind of like the servants' quarters basically. They're still there, and we're lucky enough to have hooked up with one of the guys that lives there, and he's told us about activity in the cottage.
That's awesome.
But the interesting thing was that when we've been investigating at the Kirk, one time I turned around and said, you know, I was up at your house earlier today, and it came through in a clear, a woman's voice. They were up at the house. And my name gets brought up a few times. You know, I've heard Scott's here, or there's Scott, sort of thing. It's always the same voice. So we managed to establish who they are. The other thing we did was, we know there's kids there, we know there's kids there. So just before Christmas, Craig and I took an angel toy thing and a toy train and left them there. And so we went back just the first week in January, and I says to them, "Can you tell me what gifts I left for the kids?" And we get the words train, toy, and doll back.
Very cool.
So we know that they are there, and they are watching. They know what's going on, basically.
And they're
Yeah.
intelligent if they're telling you straight away what you left for them.
Aye.
It's not a residual thing; it's an intelligent.
Oh, they're dead, and yourself, we're always hearing footsteps.
Yeah.
There's always, every time we go, you hear footsteps. It's not for the same bit, but it's always different bits. I done a wee cut walk at Halloween last year, and I was just myself, and I felt my left sleeve getting tugged twice, like in a child.
Very cool.
If ever a child tries to say, "I'm here," so we, it's coming on. We will keep you up to date with it, because I know he's quite liked.
I'm intrigued to see how far it goes, like how far you get with it, because now you're looking at the cottages. See the house that's built on top of the original Dempster house, right? Have they talked about any activity there? Because their house is built on top of the original.
See, that's the thing. I spoke to the lady that lives in the house, and I did ask her, and she says, "We've never had anything here." She says, "You're welcome to come up and investigate the garden." So no, let's investigate their house, because I think her husband's a bit funny. But she says, "You're welcome to come up and investigate in the gardens."
Give off a shot. You never know. Especially if you're getting permission.
Yeah.
The guy that stays in the cottages, the cottages is right next to, this house. He says there's things been happening in the house since he started renovating it. He's trying to restore it to its original, the way it was back in the 1800s. He says, ever since I started working on this cottage, he says, things are just happening, and there's things happening that are slowing them down.
It's sort of stirred up energy.
Yeah.
So I says to him, it's possible that it's James Dempster that's going between the two of them.
Yep.
So we did an investigation back at the cut, and we did ask, "Have you been up at the house, Mr. Dempster?" And I'm sure we got a yes back.
We did.
And a male, our Scottish male voice, we got a yes. So we're pretty sure that because I say quarter of a mile, it's probably not even that. So we think he's gone between the two. There's a bit of a long driveway up to the cottages. We've been told that there's a young boy been seen sitting in the driveway. And he just watches everywhere. And the story is there was a young boy who used to sit there watching for his father coming home, kind of thing. And at that time, there was no trees in the field, so you could see right over into Galston. And so they reckon this is this wee boy that's still, still waiting. But it's really, really fascinating. As you say, that's took us about 2 years to just piece that together. And
have you had Agnes come through again? Because when we were there, we had the name Agnes come through, and then we went to those tombstones or the graves that were in the trees. And the first one we found was an Agnes after the name Agnes had come through.
Well, I don't think, have we?
Agnes came through the spirit talk the last time we were there.
That did.
Mine,
We were talking about, because we were speaking about how me and Will found that grave. So yeah.
There was like 4. Was it 3 or 4 that had Agnes on Heathstones? And then there was something about, was it Red Rose or something?
Yeah.
We found at the back because it was partially obscured by I think another.
Well, the shrubs.
Aye.
It was all in the.
But I could just make out something that was wrong and it said Red Rose, like it was a poem that was etched on it or something,
And I just goes to show a lot of people doubt the paranormal, and people say, "Oh, no, that's not what you heard, that's not what," but I think it's mere validation you can piece it together. And you've got people that were there that have witnessed similar stuff to we've got, if that makes sense. That makes sense. I know what it is.
But it's also, you can also think it is like, okay, so we get this Red Rose come through and then we find that this, this this headstone, right, that has the red rose on it. Was that just happened by chance, or was that like maybe whoever resides around that area was like, hey, my tombstone's here, but it's buried at the back, nobody can see it. So I'm going to say something that gets you inquisitive, and you go looking and you find it, you know?
Aye, that it possibly could be that, because there is a lot of headstones.
Back there, and a lot of them are obscured, you know?
Which is I thought there was a cat there. Did you feel something bumping this couch?
It was Laura.
Me.
Was it you? I thought it was one of the cats.
Yep.
But there is a lot of headstones in there, and you wouldn't know they're there unless you do go looking for them. But I think they are going to be looking at the place and trying to clear it another wee bit.
They are.
To try and get more of these headstones out. So, I mean, do you have anything like that over there? Where on an investigation that you keep going to and you are managing to build up a picture kind of thing?
So most of the locations we only get to do once or twice a year. Because obviously we're paying to go to locations. But it's difficult for us to build that kind of relationship with most places because it's not something that we can just for free go back to. Because most of the locations are booked by someone else every single night. Cemeteries, you're not allowed to be in after dark. That's against the law to be in cemeteries after dark. So, because of vandalism, they don't want vandalism in the cemetery, so you just don't get to be there when it's dark. It's usually a dawn to dusk, or having to have a special permission, but most places don't want you in them. We actually, myself and Heidi and Kyle from the team went and investigated very respectfully down in Iowa City during the day at the Black Angel, and a lady called the cops on us because she thought we were disrespecting a grave. And all we had was a spirit box, and we were sitting there talking. And then the police laughed about it and said, it's okay. It's not a big deal. Thanks for sticking around. But, there's a lot of people because of, religious beliefs and other things that it's not something that you get to do here freely in a lot of places.
Well, I would put it two places. I think with Pollock, something Edinburgh Manor also one place. Yeah,
obviously where I work, I've got somewhat of a relationship with some of the spirits there. But there's so many people that passed away there that I still don't have a story for most of it. I have a few spirits that are regular and have communications and will identify themselves, but not enough that I could say, like, this is the story of this place. I wish we could.
You work at, I was going to say Bell Manor. It's not Bell Manor.
Edinburgh Manor.
For some reason, I get a Bell Mansion popping right in my head. Totally unrelated. So, you work at Edinburgh Manor, so you're there 5-6 days a week, whatever.
Yes.
And how does it feel getting in? I mean, obviously, it's pretty active, and you do have intelligent, spirits there that are wandering about doing their own thing.
Right. So it's different every day. That's what's crazy. Like this week, I'm there every day this entire week. Got Sunday through Sunday. I have this whole week. I don't get to really investigate. I'm usually there. I check someone in. I give them a tour if they want one. If they want a tour, I ask, is it okay to run a spirit box so that you guys can hear them talking also? Because there's some spirits that will consistently answer almost every single day. One of those is a gentleman named Jerry that we know is still there. And he didn't even die there. He lived there from the age of 17 into his 70s. And he got moved to a skilled nursing facility 9 miles away, where he died 2 weeks later. But we get communications with him almost every day. And he'll talk on tour. I had a tour in October where I brought another team in, and I was walking them through, and I'm like, can you tell me who we're talking to? And it goes, it's Jerry, with excitement. And they're like, no way, that didn't just happen. It's Jerry. But he knows that he's there, and he knows that he's interacting intelligently. And I wish I had more time to sit and just have those conversations and interactions and things on a daily basis. But I'm usually there as a caretaker and tour guide, more so than being able to investigate.
See, have you ever been sitting and you see it in films, and it might sound a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You see in films, somebody's maybe sitting at a desk, and you'll get a pen that maybe moves or whatever. Any kind of objects ever kind of move around about you when you're working or sitting at desks or anything?
I have had things fall down where I'm not at, like in a room. We get a lot of noises and sounds and footsteps and things. My most odd experience that I had recently, I don't even remember how many months ago it was. It was just in the last 5 months. So I do a lot of the cleaning at the building. So I'm sweeping up because it's an old building. It has paint that's falling. So I sweep up paint chips every week, usually somewhere every day. And I was sweeping down the main staircase, which I have to do with a broom and a dustpan because it's got carpet on the stairs. So I'm vigorously sweeping down the stairs. I hear footsteps coming from the men's side of the building, but that's normal. So I don't even hesitate. I'm like, okay, cool. Footsteps, keep sweeping. And I'm about 2 stairs down from the bottom. And right behind me, I hear a man's voice. And he says, "May I be of help?" And I drop my dustpan of paint chips all over the stairs because it startled me because I'm in the building alone. And I turned around and looked, and I saw a man standing there. Clearly enough that I've actually been able to describe right down to the way he cuffed the sleeves of his shirt and the hat that he's wearing that looks like somebody sat on it, and the deep sunken cheeks, and the way that his skin is very sun worn, and he was very solidly a person. And then I looked down at my spilled paint chips, and I looked back up, and he wasn't there.
Oh, wow.
And I see things often that's not but not that clearly. Usually I get a glimpse of a little bit of a something, or you have, a form of a something, and it might give you just a slight detail. But this was a man standing in the hallway. And when I looked back, there was no man standing in the hallway. And I messaged the owner right away, and I'm like, so I'm at the bottom of the stairs and I don't know what I just saw. And so I'm describing it to her, and she's like, sounds about right. And I'm like, okay. It just, and it doesn't matter how many times you've had experiences, when you get one that real, you're like, that's not real. I'm losing my mind. That didn't happen.
It just totally defies explanation. I've heard footsteps coming down the stairs when nobody was coming downstairs, sounding like dog Shelley.
Yeah.
That's Laura's other half.
Yeah. I've met Craig. I know who that is.
So
he was there. He was there.
I forgot. Memories know that too sharp time of night. I mean, they still the old age. No, they're still young, 37. In the old age.
37 with 20 years experience,
aye.
That makes you
I was born when I was 20. Anyway, but the Edinburgh Mansion fascinates me because, again, you see films, haunted mansions, etc., places like that. And especially going back the 1800s sort of thing, and you just get an image in your head of these, people still wandering about doing their own thing. And to actually work in a place where that, I think that would be fascinating. I would love I'd never be home. I'd be there.
Well, I'm not allowed to stay. I'm only there for a limited time each day. But it is fascinating. I keep telling myself I want to start writing down a journal so that I can keep each day separately of each thought, because it all runs together for me. And then I'm like, well, I don't remember what day that was when that happened. And, what if I start, I keep saying it. I'm going to just take a journal with me tonight. When we get done with this podcast, I have to run up there and do the next check-in. And I'm going to take a dang journal with me so that I can start journaling what's happening, because they'll say things to me. The name Lisa keeps coming out as a name there. Nancy's out on the front lawn. We've had Nancy said a bunch of times. It's just, and I just need to keep track better. And I'm doing a very horrible job of it, but it's not my investigation day, so I'm not tracking it like I should. And I need to just take notes every single day so that I can go back next year and be like, does this man appear at the stairs at a specific time on a specific day? Does this person, you know, are they there all the time? Are they not there all the time? I really need to do that.
Do you think that maybe, don't worry, William, I'm coming to you. I've not forgotten to you. I know you're sitting there quiet just like that. Just let you jump in. Do you think they're attracted to you because they trust you? We spoke about this on different shows, that I think you get to a certain stage, if you're in the same location all the time, that you get to that moment where spirit start, you know, they trust you because they know you and you're looking after the place. So in their mind, you know, you're nice, you're good, regardless of what William says. I had to put that bit in. But they know that you're not there to harm them or disrespect them, and that's why they're so close to you.
So as much as I don't want to claim that as a thing, I do feel that that is true. They interact in ways that I know that they're aware of my presence. They say my name all the time. Sometimes when I come in the building and kick on the spirit box, they're shouting for something. And I'm like, okay, who is this? What do you need? Where do I need to go? And generally it's something. One time it was Jerry. I was walking through the building and Jerry's room is the far end of the first floor. And I was at the opposite end of the building on the second floor on the women's side. And a man's voice comes through and I'm like, who is up here talking to me on the women's side? And it's Jerry. He says his name, and he says Jerry. And I'm like, well, Jerry, what is it that you need? And he says missing. And I'm like, well, let me finish up whatever's here. What's missing? And he said something. I couldn't understand it. And I'm like, okay, fine. Give me a second. I'll head back down to your room. Because I kind of have an idea of what's missing. And by the time I got to the center hallway to go down the center staircase, he shouts through the spirit box, stolen. And I'm like, oh gosh, somebody stole his book. He has a book that was given to him as a gift in the afterlife that he's possessive of. So I go down to the room, and sure enough, his Davy Crockett book is not sitting on the bed. And I'm looking at the table and the dresser and under the blankets, and it's just not there. It's not on the floor. And then I glance over to the next bed over, and there's the book. And so I'm like, seriously, Jerry, you just made me run all the way downstairs because your book is on the other bed? And the spirit box laughs at me.
So, I think it's amazing that you've got that kind of relationship, and you know, this gentleman, Jerry, and that he's taking the mickey at you. You know, that they still, and I think that validates even more. Some people say it's a load of crap, but I think when you get stuff like that, that validates more that spirit does interact with, you know, with us when they want to, when they like you enough or trust you enough. You know, because you know you get to you go to new locations and 9 times out of 10 you get nothing. You know.
Right. So when I do tours, I actually ask the groups, do you want me to take my spirit box on tour? Sometimes they really enjoy talking when I'm giving the tour. And it didn't happen last night, but pretty much every tour for the last 3 weeks, one of the spirits, I don't know who, it's a man, he keeps saying the same word in every tour. And so I know it's the same guy. Because it's the same voice and he's saying the same thing on every tour somewhere during my tour. So I'm going into a room and I'm explaining this is this room and this is what activities here and here's some history. And then on the spirit box it goes, bullshit. And I'm like, what? And the people look at me, and I don't say that it says that. The people look at me and they go, "Did it just say bullshit?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it did." He's been doing that like for 3 or 4 weeks now. I had a tour where we got through more than half the tour, and I had already made the joke of, we'll see if the guy says the word, and he didn't. And we're up at the top of the stairs on the second floor, heading over to the women's side, and I'm like, I'm really surprised that word didn't come through today. And they're like, well, what word is it? And I'm like, well, normally somewhere in the tour he says bullshit. And then right after that, the spirit box goes, damn it.
Maybe you forgot.
But you know, and then like 5 doors down the hallway, I said something about one of the ladies' rooms, and there he was, bullshit. And I'm like, there it is. And they're like, no way. But you know, they're getting an experience, as silly as that is, they're getting an experience on their tour, because that, you know, that's not a word that comes through on radio.
I mean, as you say, as silly as it is, I think it's a good thing.
Mhm.
You know, because I mean, people watch these ghost shows and you know, everybody's talking about demonic spirits and blah blah bollocks. Do you know what I mean? And
I'm going to use that in my tour next time. All
blah,
the demons and blah blah bollocks.
so well, you can have that.
That's in my tour tonight. I'm using it.
But you know what I mean? And a lot of people think, you know, spirits are just evil, you know. But to get interaction with that, and it shows the, you know, the public, people who don't do investigations, that spirits are still just normal people. They like a laugh and a joke, you know.
We get way more evidence when we're not being serious.
I
Way more evidence when we're just doing our thing, having a laugh between us, letting them join in, not asking them to perform like monkeys. You know, when we just be real and be ourselves, we get way more.
And Hans Holzer said it best when he said that he doesn't see a spirit or a ghost, he just sees a fellow human being just in need of help. You know, that's how he views them. Well, that's how he viewed spirits, as just fellow human beings, you know.
But that's it. The only thing that they're missing is a physical body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're still there. And it gets me sometimes when you see investigators saying there's something in the corner. There's something over there. And but you see, no, there's no something. There's someone over there. You know, because, you know, there's still a person.
So,
something.
On that same thought, Scott, my son Kyle, our son Kyle, I guess he's our son Kyle. I'll let you have credit for that.
I'm glad you were involved in the process, William. I really am.
He wasn't. He's the stepdad, but still. Yeah. But you know, Kyle said one time, he's like, "Why is it?" Because when we do an Estes session with the headphones, we generally go a little deeper than a lot of groups do. So we'll sit there and we'll hand signal. This is a male. This is a female. Because obviously, I'm going to sound like a female no matter what I'm saying, and I want them to know a little more about who they're communicating with. So if I have a male voice come through, I'll be like, "It's a male." And it's a female. And Kyle says, why are we calling a male and female? They're not specimens. If I walk up and say, oh, Scott's a man, or Sarah's a woman, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to be saying man and woman. And I'm like, that makes sense. Why, you know, we're not labeling them as like something in an experiment that's like non-human. And and it does make a difference. We've had interactions better now that it's man and woman that we're talking about, because the whole male female thing is just awkward when you think about it. But you know,
you're a male, but no, I told you're totally right, because you know these spirits still, they just want to be acknowledged. They want you to know, I'm still here. You know, I'm no, you know, heaven or hell, you know, wherever. I'm standing right beside you, basically. You know, I'm not going. And there's a chubster in. Hey, Rigger, here on Spike. I've got a question for you. I was going to say Kat.
See then, how does...
Yeah, I was going to say I saw that too. Kate was asking if I believe that we communicate with people who have passed or are in other dimensions. I believe both. I think that there's a lot of different things that we don't understand. my belief on spirit and like them staying in the space where they are is that they are just in that limbo between their next step. And I don't believe that their timelines are the same as our timelines where we have, hours and days and weeks and months and whatever. I think theirs is like they could have centuries in moments of what our timeline is. I just really strongly believe that they aren't limited like we are. And they can come back and visit, and it doesn't take away from whatever they're doing or wherever they are in the state that they're in. That's how I feel. So if that helps to answer that, I do believe in reincarnation as well. So
See, I'll cover you, William. Don't worry, I'm going to get to you, but I will. And so I've asked sometimes, when we investigate, like you take Loudon Kirk, for instance, see we go there on a Saturday, and then we leave, and James Dempster, that's watching us leave, and then we come back the next Saturday. Well, to us, that's 7 days since we've been there. See, James sees us coming back. So is that 7 days for him? Is he trying to say they were here a week ago? Or is it a case of us more or less walking out the gate and walking straight back in?
Well, you think about it like this, right? For us, Tuesday never comes before Monday, right? But does that apply to your spirit? There's a theory that time is irrelevant to a spirit. It doesn't mean nothing. Time to us is important. Our lives revolve around time. It's important to us, but to a spirit, it's probably nothing. Like you said, it's like you just walked out and came back in.
Mm-hmm. Even though to us it's been a week.
Yeah.
The spirit world itself, we don't know anything about it. Is there any structure there, or is it just on a whim?
Mm-hmm.
Activity doesn't just happen at night; it happens during the day as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've always wondered, like to take Caldwell, I put photos up on the page yesterday. As you say, it's an old abandoned mansion, basically. It's totally dilapidated, but we had a lot of activity there, a lot of intelligent responses there. So I always used to wonder, I still do, when we're standing in Caldwell and we've got these intelligent spirits, are we visiting them or are they visiting us?
You'd say it's a bad both.
I thought I'd lost track.
I think at Caldwell, though, it's a case of we're visiting them because we have had intelligent communication with the children spirits of Caldwell who have seen
and how many
and stuff.
How many teams do you think are allowed access into the crypt to investigate? Probably not many, right?
probably not.
No, not a lot. Not a lot.
Aye, so
But to me, it might sound like stupid questions, but there's that many different questions in the paranormal that even silly we consider, or which some people consider a silly wee question, to me is a valid question. Do they remember us? Do they trust us? Are we visiting them? How do they do? Just wee bits and pieces. I think the wee bits and pieces, if we ever manage to answer them, will build a bigger picture.
Yeah.
I think it's the same with Broadhead Manor as well. When we go to Broadhead, you see me pull up a little thing there. I think it takes multiple visits, multiple times of being there. Being respectful and maintaining a trust with that. You've got to build that trust. It's like making new friends. How do you make a new friend? Do you scream in their face and antagonize them, or do you be polite and be respectful?
I gave Laura will testify, Sarah will testify to this as well. They would never go down the back of Loudon.
No.
Doing the Dempster plot. I'll let you tell them.
Definitely not.
Never.
There was a heavy presence, as if you were being looked at, as if you weren't welcome, like at all. We just
So,
it was creepy.
It was horrible.
Funny enough, you two are saying that because when Kat goes to the basement in Romano and she goes to the maintenance room side, she gets the same heavy pressure. Try to go into that room. It's like
only sometimes.
It's like something doesn't want her there.
Yeah.
And it's only sometimes. It's not all the time.
At Loudon, but now we were there about last 2 weeks,
couple of weeks ago,
and we were actually sitting round the back of that bit.
No problem.
No problem. It was just totally
Different. It was like light. I wouldn't say it was like welcoming, but it was like it's hard to
The atmosphere. Well,
so difficult to
I've been
explain.
allowed in day and night. It's never bothered me. But for the girls' point of view, the atmosphere seems to have changed. It seems to have turned round. And, you know, going back to the bit of trust, about trust is, as they knew that James trusts Sarah and Laura, so he's kind of took away the threatening attitude.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, I'd say more than likely, He's like, oh, it's just it's these guys, you know, I know them, they're polite, they're nice, you know.
I'll
Let
still
them have fun, you know.
I'll still not go and stand in within the metal cage bit. That's not going to happen anytime soon.
aye, you go in the back.
I'll
now.
go round the
Well,
back and sit on my chair.
like so the maintenance room, Kat, you're saying, is it possible that it was some kind of caretaker or something that was there? Because, you know, the maintenance room is probably the caretakers or janitors or whatever they were called.
So we just refer to that person as the maintenance man. I don't ever really investigate and bother him. Most of the things that we get for evidence from that space is a very grumpy man. I usually get called the B word. He usually yells at people to leave and get out, and he swears at people. And so I don't spend a lot of my time trying to communicate with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to, I feel like even trying to push for, hey, can you at least tell me your name? I think that's provocation, you know, because he doesn't want to tell me anything. He just wants me to go away. And I usually like, okay, you said it, you know, I'll go ahead and head out. Can you say it for me one more time, just so that I know that you're meaning that I'm not supposed to be there? So, and he'll be like, leave. And I'll be like, okay, leaving. You know, yesterday's tour, it said leave. And the people are like, did that just say leave? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to tell you about the room really quick. And then we'll go ahead and head out. And, you know, but he started with, we just walked in the room and he said leave. And I'm like, but I have to tell him about the room. It's part of the tour. You know, just give me a moment and then we'll go. But
is it possible that the spirit there, this guy, well, he's either one, you know, he was a caretaker of some kind, and he sees that this is my place, you don't belong here, or maybe he just wasn't a people person and physical.
could be either.
You know,
I mean, these workbenches in there, there's tools and things in there and all that. So also he did a lot of work in there, so he probably wouldn't want people wandering in and out if he was working, you know. Right, you could say that's a very people person thing.
To me, that sounds like it's you. He looks at you're invading in his territory, and
It is his space.
You know,
it is his space for sure. It's his.
I mean, my dad, God rest him, he was a mechanic, and he worked for, it was Lord Wallace at the time, going back years ago, but it was for a company. The guy who ran it was a Lord Wallace, and my dad was his chauffeur mechanic, and the garages were separate for the actual factory itself. And my dad, he was a sociable person, but he did not like anybody being in the garage when he wasn't there. He did, you know, stay, that's my garage. Stay out here, all my tools, everything's in there. You're not allowed in, basically. So it could be a kind of similar scenario. You know, that's my maintenance room. Go, leave, kind of thing. So, well, what kind of reactions do you get to Edinburgh? Obviously, the Spirit Sea Cat is a kid, you know, she's looking after us, she's looking after the house. Do you get any kind of interaction?
I get kind of better interaction, but also I'm going in there with a polite and respectful attitude, you know, and I can make fun of myself at any given time and get a response back, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the funniest things I usually get there, it doesn't always happen, but it's once or twice now it's happened, is I'll be running a spirit box or like even just RTC box going or like an SS or something, you know. And I'll be asking a question or two, and then I get the what? Like, do you need me? I'm like, do you need me to repeat it? Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, kind of thing. But that's the kind of reactions I get. But
So-
I try. When you go.
That is so. Do you think that's because you're Scottish? And I've been asked this before. You know, when we pass over, are we able to understand all different languages and you know all the rest of it? Do we suddenly understand French and German and blah blah blah? You know, or do we just stay the same? I think we just stay the same. But do you think because these are, this is going to sound stupid, right? But these are American spirits, if you know what I mean, and you're Scottish. I know that.
I think the people there, they wouldn't have seen a lot of back in its early infancy when Edinburgh first around. There was a number of immigrants that were there at the time. Some from Germany, some from Ireland. There was one guy from Inverness who was there, and he died in 1901. But after that, there isn't a lot of much records that you know a lot of immigrants been there, whatever. So over time, they wouldn't have seen. You know, they're going to see a lot of Scots, you know. So I can walk in there again at he in the hall and the fucking Brigadoon, and they're like, "What's this?" You know.
And that's how you get the response of what?
Or maybe they're just curious, like they're so used to hearing the same voice. As soon as they hear something subtle, something different, they're like, "Okay, what's this?" You know. And they might just take a peek or you know say something to you, and then be like, "Oh, well, we don't understand them, so we're leaving." You know.
Do they think they know that you and Kat are a couple?
Yes, absolutely. Because when I'm there, they say William a lot.
So they know you.
Even just this week, one of the days that I was there would have been Monday. The spirit box within a 5-minute time was like, William, where's William? William. And I'm like, he's not here. He's at home. William, I'm like, he's not here. Do you need me to say something to William? And it didn't say anything. But I'm like, they know that will, but they also say some of my other team members, like the other day, it was talking about Ethan. And I'm like, Ethan's definitely not here with me right now. What do you need from Ethan? So I don't know. You know, it's just that, you know, there's awareness. There's definitely awareness, which is cool.
And again, that to me, that just validates it. You know, spirits they recognise, spirits they do want to interact, and they can become your friend.
Yeah.
You know, if you allow it, if they like you, basically. Well, let's say at the end of the day, we can investigate for decades, but if a spirit does want to talk to you, then they're not going to talk to you.
So I have a question for you guys. If you go into a location in a state that's not necessarily like, I'm here to investigate, but you go in with a state of mind of like, I just genuinely want to have an understanding and feel the whole emotional thing of a relationship with a person. Like, I want to understand you. I want to know, you know, what about you is so special and important that I want to know the deep thoughts and the deep, you know, can you build that close of a relationship with spirit? I don't have any quite yet that are that deep, but like I keep getting mental pictures of I'm supposed to go into Edinburgh Manor and get very personal and tell them about my feelings and tell them about what I'm experiencing. And they're like, I've had dreams about it and they're supposed to respond. And I'm like, I'm not going in there crying. Why am I supposed to go in there and like pour my soul out crying? But I feel like I'm supposed to go in there and pour my soul out. And what am I going to get in return for that? Because that's giving a lot of my energy to a place that has some negative stuff at it. What purpose is me going in there and doing that? What am I going to get for it? And you know, that's a weird thing to be kind of scared of, but I'm like, something there wants me to invest deeply enough that they know me to the depth of myself. And that's a weird thing because I'm used to doing that with him, but I haven't invested in a spiritual location like that yet, but I feel like I'm supposed to. I don't know. There's a fear factor there.
We get that at Caldwell,
Yeah.
because when we first started, especially for me, because obviously, as everybody knows, I've got difficulties walking and stuff. And when we were investigating Caldwell, it turned out that there was a wee girl called Neve who was in a wheelchair. And she had kind of similar issues with her back to what I had. But we didn't find that out until there was one day I went in and I was quite sore. But I thought, no, we've arranged to go, we're going to go. And I was sitting and I was like, oh, my back's really sore today. Like, I don't know how to shift it. And then it turned out that this wee girl turned round and told us that she was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And then the kind of relationship built for there, didn't it? Kind of, we would tell them something about us, they would then
Come back.
Like,
These wee snippets.
I'd mentioned obviously the fact that I had a wee girl of a similar kind of age, and then it came back that we were talking about the wee girl who was telling us what she liked, and it was quite an emotional bond that we'd made.
Aye. Aye.
Mm-hmm. Aye, Caldwell was severely ill for about 2 months on and off, and we felt we did strike up some, because we don't think we couldn't find anything, any other paranormal teams that had done Caldwell. I dare say there had been maybe, but it wasn't.
all Urban Explorers.
I was all Urban Explorers. The paranormal side, we couldn't find anything, well, we've been there, we've done this. So I think with Caldwell, because we went in and we tried to strike up a relationship with them, they were kind of, nobody's ever done this before. Mm-hmm. This is something new. Finally, somebody wants to talk to us. And it sounds big-headed, but we got a lot of evidence at Caldwell, and I think that's why, because they thought, well, wait a minute, these people want to talk to us. They don't just want to look about the building.
Generally, why talk to us.
And that's how we approach most of our investigations, is to be personal and real and all of that. But like, I'm like drawn to be like my full emotional self that I don't even necessarily give him. That's what Edinburgh is asking of me, and I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot. But, who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll give in and do it, and something will happen. I don't know, but I'm like, I don't know.
Make it sucked back in time or something like that. You never know. She might not come home well. Might just get.
I'm a very. I like to put a boundary of what I give of myself to a place. Like, I want them to know enough about me that I'm like, they know that they can trust me. But to invest deeper, if it's the negative thing that's asking me to do that, I don't know. I don't know if it's the good stuff or the bad stuff. There's negative stuff there too. And so I'm like, well, who really wants that? Who needs that energy at that level? Which is it, one of the residents, or is it the other things? I don't know.
I would do it slowly, just start off giving wee bits. Yeah. And then you'll be able to gauge it for there, whether it's positive or negative.
Do you have teams in to investigate?
The building has a team in every single night. That's why I'm there. I go and check in people every single night.
With do you get paranormal teams come in and do their own thing, kind of thing?
Every night.
When these teams when these teams come in, do they ever get anything that you don't pick up on? Do they come back and say, oh, there's a woman here called Dorothy, and there's a demon here, or, blah, blah, blah?
All the time.
And how do you feel about that? Does it not annoy you?
So my reality in this whole thing is there are spirits that I know connect with me, and then there are spirits that connect with others that I'm not even aware of, because I'm not who they're looking for a connection. And so, like, you and I may go to the same location, and I may pick up on a little girl, but you might have some old lady that's like, I'm talking to Scott. And I may not be aware of that lady because she doesn't have any interest in talking to me. So I know, like, Edinburgh Manor has on record 234 deaths on property and a lot of unrecorded deaths. We could be talking to any number of 100 people in there. Not to mention it was also Native American ground before it was a county home. You know, it was a lot of different things. And I have to stand at a neutral place and say, I've not had that experience myself. It's really cool that you have. I hope to hear more about it. Because I at least can say, okay, so now this person had that. I've never had that. Oh, but now I've got this person that's having that. That's interesting because I didn't tell them. So maybe there is this person there and it's just somebody that doesn't care about interacting with me. They're looking for somebody else.
Yeah.
We had similar, we don't talk to them, but there's another team done Loudon maybe 3-4 weeks ago, whatever. They've done it twice in 1 week. And they were coming out with all this stuff. One of them had the headphones on, but no blindfold. And she came out with a name, and it was a Covenanter. And there was just a whole lot of stuff that we'd never picked up on. But you could tell half of it was bollocks, basically. And they said that where the Dempster plot, as you said, that was a witch's grave in there. You know, and it was stuff like that. And we went there after it to investigate, and I was standing in the same spot this individual with headphones was standing when she says it was, I think his name was Thomas.
It was.
It was Thomas, and it was a Covenanter. And I was standing there, and it was right, I don't know if you remember it.
Wasn't mentioned. It was Covenant.
It was right with the crypt side there, right in the corner. And I was standing there and I turned around and happened to notice a headstone, a plaque on the wall, a headstone on the wall, and it said Thomas Covenant. So the odds are this individual was reading it off the headstone, you know. But as when they say that it's a witch's grave that's in the fenced off area, I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah, that's another thing that really hurts locations is misinformation.
Yeah.
So, like, I've seen one video for Edinburgh Manor on YouTube where they're going through and they go to this bathtub. I think it's on the one side, second floor. They have a flash of the bathtub, and then they say, yeah, this is where they did electroshock therapy in this bathtub. Now, if you're a smart cookie, you know that water and electricity don't mix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they had said hydrotherapy, I might have believed that, even though there's no records to document or undocumented to say that hydrotherapy was done there. But it's more believable than electric shock therapy because the building itself, it was never designed for that. It didn't have the equipment to do it. Now, if you go an hour away from there, you'll hit Independence and they have a full state-of-the-art hospital there that could do electric shock therapy. No Edinburgh Manor. So things like that hurts locations, and you know, especially with these videos where it's like, you know, I spent a night alone in this house with 3 demons all by myself, right? At this location, so people are like, oh man, this location's getting like X amount of demons, man. We go and book this and go there. So they go there and they sit there for 8-12 hours, and all they get is all Janice coming through, you know, the little cleaner lady. So these people get mad, they leave bad reviews or bad comments, you know, and that hurts a location, especially when the misinformation being put out is nothing to do with the original history of that location, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I know 100% what you're saying. It's rife over here, you know. Just what you're saying about houses with demons. After the show, I'll send you 2 links, and you need to watch. If you want to laugh, you know, over your toast, you need to watch this. But no, I know what you mean. The misinformation. I say they've done it loud, and it's witches, and you can see you've been there yourself. It's a huge monument that says Dempster right across the top of it. You know, the other thing they forget is witches weren't allowed to be buried in hallowed ground. You know, if you were an accused witch, you were executed, you were burned. You know, but this is not witch's grave in there. The other thing they did at the Edinburgh Vaults with the Stone Circle. I don't know if you've heard of the Stone Circle in the Edinburgh Vaults. They had this medium there, shall we say. I hate doing that, but medium. you know, and this clown kept passing, going back and forward, oh, fire, brimstone, negativity. I need to go over there. I'm doing the actions as well.
Oh, you nearly poked me in the eye, but
I need to go over there, sacrifice and all the rest of it in a stone circle. And I was talking to somebody who knows the guy that owns the vaults, and I was saying, what's the story with the circle? And he says that was placed there in 1984. He says it's extra built bricks for the other vaults along the street, and they brought them along and they built a wee circle for effect. I said, sorry. So I was telling him about the fire and the brimstone and this. I can't go there. It's too much negativity, and it's what ruins. As you say, it's what ruins locations. You know, and it makes us look like a bunch of bananas, basically.
bunch of coconuts.
A bunch of cabbages. Sorry, Laura. Laura's she's got a
got an
phobia
abrasion.
about cabbages. You know what I mean? But it's destroying the whole paranormal. But I'll send you 2 links. And you can mail me about your feedback, your honest opinion on these links, shall we say. Especially Kat's. I love to see Kat's reaction to them, you know what I mean? But you know another house, so we'll wind it up there. I want to get you back because it's been too long. And we've not even spoke any Pollock apart from sausage rolls.
Oh, Jesus. Talking about paranormal stuff.
But I'll show you that.
Imagine doing a paranormal show, Scott. I actually thought of the paranormal. Come on.
Imagine. That's
Oh, you let the side in.
We do talk paranormal, you know, because that's what we do. That's what we're about. But I think it's refreshing to try and make your lives, you know, not just 100% paranormal.
Well, she was making toast halfway through it. So
You know, Laura, they were out looking for a fight and making toast, which is quite unusual.
I'm still mad we didn't get to watch. I was just
Sorry.
waiting to pick up and go so that we could watch too, and I thought that'd be a great episode. So
I would have joined for the other room, but there was nothing really TV worthy
Nah.
to show you. So
Nah.
Nobody lost any appendages, which I always find is a great shame. I mean, it's always a great shame. But I'm going to get you back on, because we've still got loads to talk about. But I know you need to get to work and see Jerry, Kat. I mean, and
yeah, I'm down to minutes before I leave. So
William has to do his chores.
I can pile of dishes in there today.
Get them to get the fairy liquid out and get in that kitchen. William. So, where can people find you?
we are on Facebook, Paranormal Exposures. We are also on TikTok and Instagram, also at Paranormal Exposures. So
Give them a look
that is
up.
where to find us.
Give them a look up, especially the Edinburgh Manor stuff, fascinating. And they've put some great photos up with the Witchaboba Cuba caves as well. Aye, the caves, we're in caves today. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try and pronounce it.
Can you say Coke?
Coke, Koketa, Makoketa,
Yes.
There you go. For coconut.
Makoket. But they were at the caves today. Don't try and confuse me. But I'll keep you just for a wee second before we come on. So that's us tonight, folks. Thanks to Will and Kat for coming along. You will be seeing them again because we've got a lot of sausage rolls to catch up on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're back on tomorrow night with Shadow Paranormal, gentleman with a hat, pretty good guy. And so we'll bid you adieu for just now, and we'll see you all soon. So
Bye.
take care, folks. Bye. Bye.